Hello, Fast Lego Studios here, and welcome back guys to week 5 of building the Lego Simpsons Springfield. Let's jump right into it. And here we are again guys, about to continue the construction to the LEGO Simpsons Springfield. But before I dive in, I quickly once again want to mention the LEGO Simpsons Krusty Burger on LEGO Ideas. If the project achieves 10,000 supporters, LEGO will take it into consideration to becoming an official LEGO set. And that may as well mean that this can be the return of the short-lived and highly anticipated LEGO Simpsons theme. I know a very large majority of the LEGO community, including Just Too Good, would love to see this short-lived theme return. And there is so much potential within this theme. Having a bunch more just buildings to expand Springfield, and perhaps even having a third minifigure series to expand the previous two to a third one. So if you guys haven't already, support the project on LEGO Ideas. Every support and share could bring this a step closer to happening. So come on guys, let's make it happen. But with all of that out of the way, let's get back to building the LEGO Simpsons Springfield for week number 5, right now. Alright guys, and jumping into week 5 of building the Simpsons Springfield, this week's episode we are not going to be focusing as much on the first floor anymore. As you guys know, with that bricklink order being on the way, with having the additional couple of filler pieces to complete the rest of the Simpsons house, I'll be putting off the assembly of the first floor until next week's episode, or perhaps even a little bit later in this week's updates. And so what we'll be building here is the second floor to the Simpsons house, getting the walls in place and just getting a plan out of how much space each room will have. Using the very same parts that we've got from last week's bricks and pieces order, just using up all of those 1x6s, all of these 1x4s, and all of that. Perhaps designing some of the furniture that will be going into those rooms. And if we have time by the end of this week's episode, I'll go ahead and begin building the second floor roof, or at least like the roofs that will be going on the second floor, and seeing what I can design from there on out. But with all of that being in mind, let's begin the updates and continue building up the Simpsons Springfield. Alright guys, and jumping right into the very first update, you guys can see in front of me right here, I've got some very good news to start out this entire update. We've got the very first bricklink order in, which I do have a second one on the way, but just to begin building up the second floor of the Simpsons house, or at least the interior of the second floor, this order was quite necessary. I even got the very important 8x16 Lego plates, got like 10 of these. And now with the very good majority of all of the plates necessary attached onto the second floor, we have plenty of room to attach all of the furniture, carpets, and all of that onto the second floor of the build. And we'll get some more stuff done in this week's episode that I didn't particularly expect. And just taking a quick glance over what I have in mind when it comes to the second floor of the Simpsons house. Starting off with the parents' bedroom, you guys can see I've already got the bed in place, just figuring out how much space I have around that to work with, having the tiny little desk being placed right here, having like a chair being over here, the closet, and the bathroom. I'm expecting to have Lisa's room over here, Bart's room right next to it, Maggie's room across from it, and then having the second bathroom to be right here, a 5-stud hallway just running across whole of that there. In theory, and to what I'm imagining it, I'm hoping that everything does work out in the end, but given the first floor with its challenges, I cannot make any promises. And the roof panel right here, I went ahead and expanded it by another stud, making this entire roof panel a little bit more just better fitting to when it comes to attaching the second floor of the Simpsons house. And with the second floor removed here, as you guys know, with this little just bricklink order in, I've got to just adding in a couple more tiny little additions throughout the entire first floor of the Simpsons house, and I think you guys can notice some of those little just touches being placed throughout the entire first floor. In terms of the windows, you guys know on the official LEGO Simpsons house set, we initially have these just very squished in windows going in place on either side, backed up one to another, and while they get the very basic point across to what the Simpsons house has to offer, I find these much larger windows going across either side of the house to be a lot more accurate. And when it comes to the basic concept and what I'm expecting from just having the final product of the Simpsons house to look like, just taking one of the roof panels from the official LEGO Simpsons house set, the one that was placed all the way back there, and just placing it up front, because this panel right here is a significantly more accurate size than what LEGO initially provided when it comes to the front of the roof. But anyhow, just attaching that in a place, you guys can see, just get a very rough understanding and idea of what the final product will look like. But with all of that being said, this is honestly quite a strong start to the beginning of the week's updates, with not only acquiring the very necessary parts at the beginning of the week to continue the interior of the Simpsons house, but as well getting a very solid foundation to what we have going on already in the inside of the second floor, and are about to continue this LEGO mock. Alright guys, and jumping right into the very next update of the week here, you guys can see we have made a lot more progress to the entire second floor of the Simpsons house, mainly focusing upon building up all of the wall divisions, but as well having a couple of interior touches being placed within the house. But starting off with the parents' bedroom here, once again, haven't really focused too much upon this area, but I'm honestly hoping to get this area here all built up by next week's episode. But then moving into the mini bathroom right here, you guys can see I'm starting to install the shower right into the build, and I'm soon enough as well will be attaching a very just nice and small sink going into that little space right there. And then a couple more things like the toilets and all of that off on this wall right here. But then moving into Lisa's room, you guys can see I haven't gotten too much interior building done within this room as well, but I have gotten the basic idea and understanding of what I just want to go in this room here. I've started getting the 2x2 tiles in green just running across the floor. I will be soon enough, once again, just getting all of this filled in with all tiles. Essentially, the entire second floor will be filled in with those green tiles. But aside from that, I've got the little shelf being already in place, all from the LEGO Simpsons set at the moment. Haven't built up anything custom yet. But then just moving into the hallway, you guys can see I've gotten a fair amount of building going into this little space here. I've already started getting the purple rugs that are supposed to be in the hallway already placed in. A little bit more building to go here with having that dark green tile just running across the inside of these. Then aside from that, just having the medium nougats wrapping around this little 5-stud hallway. But in the end, it's really turning out how I initially envisioned what I wanted to go in here. aside from the fact that there were a lot of changes being made to the overall style and a lot of just different iterations of how these walls were constructed, it was a giant process, believe me. In terms of the second bathroom, you guys can see I still need to get a lot of plates just being placed in here. But now moving into Maggie's room, I haven't gotten anything or too much done in here at the moment. Still need to build up a lot of little things in here, especially with the shelves. There's like a couple of like shelves and then some dressers to go along with that all around this room, so there's still a lot of custom furniture to be designed in here. If we take a look on the outside, you guys can see I have went ahead and attached this little window assembly right in place. And finally, moving into Bart's room here, we've got that keep out sticker that was included with the official Simpsons set. I've just changed up the overall orientation of how that door opens and just made it a little bit more accurate to what you guys see in the show. But then as we just walk into his room here, you guys can see I've just modified Bart's bed just slightly by adding in another one of these little just drawers off on the side of the bed, having the very same desk, chair, shelf being placed onto the build, the very same ones that were included with the official LEGO Simpsons House. The Simpsons House has a set really just nailed down on all of these nice details, though it did not capture everything. So soon enough, once again, I'll be going back in and adding in some more just nice and fine details going on all the way throughout these rooms. And for anyone wondering, what is this just strange little block of space that doesn't particularly have any openings to enter into? And well, the answer to that is, I just don't know what this space is really supposed to be. This again just leaves the space open for more and more detail. What I'm hoping to get into this little strange space right here is probably some wiring, some mice, and all of that, just filling this little space up with all of that kind of very subtle little detail that otherwise wouldn't be there if this little space didn't exist. But since it does, I guess I'll take advantage of it and add more detail into the overall creation. And some of the smaller details that you guys probably did not notice from the front of the model are these 1x4 tiles right beside the windows. Basically just interpreting those curtains going right off on either side, and the very same being done over on this side with having this second set of windows, having that little 1x4 tile, and with having this wall just being pushed up right up against this window right here. Had to make a little bit of a different assembly towards this curtain just to make it look a little bit more natural. And now finally moving into Bart's room here, you guys can see I've added in this little 2x2 tile right here. Soon enough we'll be graphic designing that one once again, just as I will be doing with a lot of the very small little things within the Simpsons house. I probably will be dedicating an entire episode towards that, given the fact of how many things there are to graphic design. Taking a quick overview on the entire back of the Simpsons house, you guys are probably thinking that, wait, aren't these windows supposed to be like exactly vertically above these, similar to like what you have going on here? And well, you guys are correct to a certain degree. I've triple checked the entire first floor and the second floor in terms of the floor plan, and everything lined up just how it does right now. There were no any errors that I made within the first or second floor, so I decided to investigate this a little bit further. I've taken both the first and second floor of the Simpsons house, lined up everything just accordingly to how it is, and with those two images being one on top of another, I've just altered the opacity of the second floor, and guess what? This is technically accurate to what the official Simpsons house is supposed to look like. It's just really strange to see that the actual show shows these windows to be exactly vertically above one another, because given the layout of the Simpsons house as is, there is no way that you can have these windows going exactly vertically above these. So technically, this is accurate. But besides that there, just stepping back and looking at the entire Simpsons house as of now, you guys can see progress is really coming together now. Still a little bit of building to go up here with that sloped roof, but then once that is in place, we'd be basically complete with the very first house that is going into Springfield. But with all of that being said, let's move out into the outro and finish off week number 5. And there we are, guys, at the end of building up the LEGO Simpsons Springfield for week number 5. Just as usual, we have made absolutely phenomenal progress in this week's episode, building up the second floor of the Simpsons house and just figuring out how much space I have to work with within each single room, and just getting a basic idea of what I want to get done in the second floor of the Simpsons house. And now moving into next week's episode, and what progress I want to make then is I want to continue upon building up the interior of the Simpsons house. Get a lot more tiles flushing out the entire second floor, get more just furniture built up around each single room, and just get more details in general being placed up around the entire second floor. So plenty more progress to look forward to, and soon enough, finishing off the entire Simpsons house. And with that later being done, we'll focus on other parts of this massive LEGO Springfield. If you guys have stayed this far into the video, I want to give you guys a little sneak peek of what I'm as well hoping to incorporate into Springfield that I didn't quite mention in any previous week of building this mock. What I'm as well planning to add into this massive LEGO creation are LED lights, and just adding a whole new layer of detail and realism to what we already have going on. I'll be explaining this a little bit more in depth in the further weeks as we finish off the Simpsons house, so stay tuned because a lot of exciting things will be happening to Springfield. But with all of that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and comment down below in the comment section of what are your guys' thoughts on the Simpsons house so far. But with all of that being considered, keep on building, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.